Yo, what up, people? It's your boy Marv Latz, and this is Nerds in the Hood, the show. Nah, let me stop. I'm not gonna sing a theme song, people. Don't worry. But I do want to welcome you back to our show. If you're watching again, that means you see something you like. And if you're watching for the first time, we appreciate you. This is a show that I made basically where we just talking at nerd talk. We're enthusiastic, we're hype, energetic. We just talking about pop culture. We talking about everything that's popping off in the world of anime, sports, music, just everything. We having fun with what is pop culture today in the 2020s and beyond. Okay, so we're gonna do a segment we like to call Facts or Fuck Out of Here. Now, if you're not from the hood, then you don't know what these two terms mean, these two words, or this word in this phrase. But this is used when people are having a discussion, and then the discussion, what ends up happening is one person agrees and disagrees. But when that person agrees, they usually say facts. And when that person disagrees, they usually say fuck out of here. These are two commonly used phrases in New York City, but they're definitely used throughout the hood too. A lot of people are saying cap now. That's okay. That's their thing. But this is what I say. I ride with fuck out of here. That drink is hilarious. It's so New York, and I'm from New York, so this is the essence. I'm bringing that essence to Nerds in the Hood because that's what it's all about, you know. So what we do is we find the list because everybody makes lists out here, whether it be YouTube or internet or even online social medias. Everybody has a list for something. Shout out to the people that be making lists consistently. That's where you're gonna see a lot of these lists from: ScreenRant, CBR, Ranker, Collider, WatchMojo.com, What Culture. All those people, like, they do their things on the list. There's more, obviously, but these are some of the ones I'm gonna be pulling from because they make a lot of lists. So we're gonna look through some of those lists that are near and dear to our hearts, or just relate to what we like to talk about, and we gonna dissect them and see if these lists are valid or not valid, just by saying facts if we agree with it, or fuck out of here if we don't. Especially when it comes to the placement, because sometimes out of 10, there's a placement that might not agree with that placement. So I want to do a special list because just a couple weeks ago in July, my birthday passed. Your boy is one step closer to the big 4-0. I ain't getting any younger. I'm an old head for real. I will be officially an old head really soon. But I thought about this when I saw this list on, it was CBR? It was CBR? No, it was ScreenRant.com. I thought about this list, and it was very nostalgic for me being an old head. And a lot of you old heads will agree. This is a very nostalgic list. But I had a good birthday, you know, got to travel a little bit. I got to go out of town to Wisconsin, see my lady's family. Got to chill, see some movies. One movie in particular I will be doing a review on, so be on the lookout for that. I got a gift courtesy of my boy Uni from Welcome to My Hood Films podcast, my co-host. This is a One Piece figure, and it is the One Piece ship from the movie Stampede. It got the nice penguin head, the wings. Unfortunately, it wasn't set up when he gave it to me, so I have to do that work. That's why it's still in the box. Maybe one day you will see it come out. Who knows? Anyway, so yes, list. This list is near and dear to my heart because it represents the core of my childhood, which is Saturday morning cartoons. This is a list of the top 10 overall Saturday morning cartoons. Now, for you Gen Zs, for you ones that came up way too late in the game, you missed out on an amazing movement. It was an amazing vibe known as Saturday morning cartoons. Long story short, this was a period in which from 7, 8 o'clock in the morning to noon, maybe 1 p.m., they just played nonstop cartoons on different channels. So as a kid, it was like Christmas every Saturday morning. Just you ain't getting no physical presence. You just sitting on your ass, watching TV for hours. Your parents never stop you unless they really have to go somewhere and take you with them. But 9 times out of 10, you was chilling in the crib, eating cereal, eating eggs, whatever breakfast you ate, and you watched TV until it was no more. Once you seen Shamal Moore come on and Soul Train was on, you knew it was over for the day. You knew Saturday morning cartoons was done. But Shout outs to ABC, shout outs to Fox, shout outs to CBS, NBC, Nickelodeon. I'd say Cartoon Network. 10, I guess Disney Plus, but not Disney Plus, excuse me, Disney Channel. But that was more ABC. ABC was holding down the Disney content. So every one of them had their own block of cartoons several hours on a Saturday. And they played some of the best cartoons ever. Ever. Like, these were top-notch, elite cartoons. And I'm so glad that they did this back in the day, because I would have never have known how great my childhood is when I look back and I think about, like, yo, I watched this TV show, it was so fire. Sometimes you go on YouTube and you see the opening again and you're like, man, this was my childhood. This was me. So Saturday morning cartoons meant a lot to me, meant a lot to some of my friends. Yeah, the nostalgia. See, I'm getting nostalgia right now just thinking about it. So let's get in there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna say the list of all of these shows. I'm gonna say facts if it deserves to be on the list, of course, and I'm gonna say fuck out of it if it doesn't. What I'm gonna base it on, what they're basing on, is like the overall impact the show had during Saturday mornings. What I'm gonna base it on is not only that overall impact was about what it did on Saturday mornings, but I'm basing it more on when it played on Saturday mornings, did they play new episodes? Because here's my thing. Some shows just played on Saturday morning, but they were more in syndication, meaning they played repeats. Whereas some shows actually was meant to be on Saturday mornings, so they played new episodes on Saturday mornings. You didn't see them on other days. Now, in certain cases, they did new episodes every day. That's fine. But if it was like, yo, we just threw the cartoon on Saturdays because we wanted to grab ratings for people who couldn't see it during the school days, I don't know if I'm going to count that. That's just me. But anyway, let's go on. Fun fact for you anime fans, One Piece is started in the United States as a Saturday morning cartoon. It actually did. The English dub was terrible at the time, but it started off as a Saturday morning cartoon. So it is not on this list, and that is true facts, 100%, but that's okay. But there you go. It wasn't the first anime to be on Saturday mornings, but it was a Saturday morning cartoon in the United States. So number 10 on this list of the top 10 Saturday morning cartoons. Oh, you know what's crazy? They just put top 10 Saturday morning cartoons from the 90s. So before I go too deep into this, that means they're not counting the decades before and the decades after. So if you don't hear a certain show, it might be because it didn't come out between 1990 and 1999. So that's fine. You know why? Because the 90s was really the boom period of Saturday morning cartoons. The 2000s was when it was dying down, and the 80s was when it was just starting, but the 90s was where it was at. So this makes more sense for this countdown list. I'm cool with this. So we can go ahead and get it started. Number 10 was Mighty Ducks, the animated series. This came on ABC. I'm going to say fuck out of here. I'm going to be real with y'all. This show was cool, but it wasn't that fire. It was only 26 episodes, and most of the time they just kind of replayed the 26 episodes, which is what a lot of American cartoons did back in the day, which was, to me, it was annoying, but they did that. Hell, Dragon Ball Z, when it came out, they always ended at right when Goku was just fighting the Ginyu Force and he just beat Raccoon, and then they stopped it there, and then you had to wait several long years until they finally finished the Frieza saga and he went Super Saiyan. So in this case, I'm gonna say fuck out of here, because this show had no real impact on Saturday mornings. I'm sure there's a fan base of people who like this show, but this show had nothing to do with the actual Mighty Ducks movie outside of them playing hockey. These were actual ducks, and if I'm right, were they outer space ducks? If I'm right, I think they were like superheroes or something like that. It was something like that. But to me, it just wasn't really popping. It was weird. And for some people, that's dope. But for me, for a Saturday morning cartoon, I always turn the channel. It wasn't my cup of tea. I know they was like superheroes or something like that, but it wasn't really fire. And to hit us with the real bait and switch that we weren't getting a show about the actual Mighty Ducks hockey team from the movies that we loved, but we were getting actual Mighty Ducks. Pass. Fuck out of here. Next. Number 9, we got Rugrats. I'm going to go ahead and say facts. They did have moments where they played new episodes on Saturday mornings. But even though it was in syndication too, like they played a lot of repeats, Rugrats was just a great show. Rugrats was one of the best shows before the SpongeBob era kicked in. It carried Nickelodeon, had several successful movies. It was just a great show. Like, what more can you say? If you Gen Zers did not see this show, you're missing out. A lot of you Gen Zers just believe that Nickelodeon was SpongeBob and possibly Avatar and Korra, but it was way more than that. Way more. So, yes, Rugrats deserves the top spot. Who knew that a cartoon about talking babies would be one of the best cartoons ever made? It's crazy when you think about it. Shout out to Nickelodeon for that. Let's see here. We got number 8, Hey Arnold. Now, this is interesting to me because if I remember correctly, Hey Arnold didn't really play new episodes on Saturdays from what I remember. It's usually syndication, but they probably threw a couple on there. Now, this is a tough one because when you're going by Saturday morning cartoons, I'm in between on this because Hey Arnold was also one of the greatest Nicktoons ever made. But is it Saturday morning cartoon great? I'm going to have to do a hot take and say fuck out of here. It was a great cartoon. It wasn't one of the greatest Saturday morning cartoons. Right? SpongeBob, technically. Rugrats, yes. Rocko's Modern Life, even Wild Thornberries. Hey Arnold as a Saturday morning cartoon wasn't the greatest. As a cartoon you played at 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, fuego. But this, nah, I don't see it. It ain't adding up. Number 7, Pinky and the Brain. Facts. 100% facts. Not only was this one of the greatest cartoons to play on a Saturday morning, it was, for Kids WB, it was one of the first cartoons to get played during their adult lineup. If I'm right, it might have been the only cartoon, unless they do on Animaniacs. And this is one of the greatest cartoon spin-offs ever made, because it's a spin-off of the TV show Animaniacs. So this show was so good that when Hulu revived Animaniacs, they brought Pinky and the Brain with it. They knew it was like, it's a package deal. This has to go with it. But this was such a good show. The way it stirred up theories years later that Pinky was the smart one and the Brain was the dumb one, or the crazy one for that matter. One of the greatest theme songs. Funny show. It was so crazy. And this is one of those shows where it was like a lot of adult jokes kind of flew over your head. A lot of the celebrity jokes flew over your head. But you were still willing to laugh at it nonetheless. It was really that good. I vibes with it. I remember always getting up singing that theme song, man. It was just a crazy theme song. It was just worth it. It's catchy. It was a vibe. Number 6, Recess. Automatic facts. No hesitation. What? This should be if not number 1, number 2. I need to see what number 1 is before I put my foot in my mouth. But this was Saturday mornings. When you think about Saturday mornings as a whole, most kids know this show from waking up on a Saturday morning, came on around like 10-ish, and watched this show. It was such a good show. Such a good show just about school, but it was barely even about school. Even when they made it about school, you didn't care. You just cared what went down during recess. And all the things that came with it, like finding out Spinelli was an Ashley, the king, all that other stuff that happened in between it, Mikey being able to sing really good, Gus coming from an army family, all of those things was just like you wanted to know more and more and more about it, and that's what made it so dope. It was one of the greatest Saturday morning cartoons ever made. It deserves to be on this list. I'm willing to argue that it's one of the greatest Saturday morning cartoons of all the decades. But this was one of the best. It was so funny. It was so original. It was sometimes relatable. It was that good of a show. And again, this is Disney doing Disney stuff. The movie was alright, but this show was really, really good. Really, really good. This is definitely facts. Automatic facts. Number 5, Pokemon. Now, what bugs me is that this is not higher because Pokemon made a name for itself as a Saturday morning cartoon. Then it got so popular they had to put it on during the weekdays for kids to come home and just watch TV. So this is facts. It deserves to be on the list no matter what. Because back in the day, the only anime that you really knew coming up that found its way into the mainstream of America was Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon. I'm willing to say that. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. There were other anime around too. There was Samurai Pizza Cats. I believe there was what was that one? G-Force. It was like Gundam came later. So there was few, you know what I mean? But Pokemon did something that Dragon Ball Z wasn't doing at the time yet. It blew up. It became a phenomenon. Several movies came out during the Saturday morning run. Spin-offs came out. Video games came out. They even had a video game based on just the TV show called Pokemon Puzzle League. FYI, that game was fuego. Anyway, this was also one of the best shows. And in an era where Disney and ABC, Fox, CBS, and the WB, now known as the CW, were fighting for supremacy of the best Saturday mornings. Then you had the cable television world with Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network. Pokemon was able to pull out all the time and be one of the tops. Pokemon was so good. This is how good Pokemon was. Pokemon was so dope of a Saturday morning cartoon show that Fox Kids had to reinvent themselves, right, on Saturday mornings and make a block that was just anime. They had to get as much anime as they could find to try to just take down just Pokemon. And then eventually Pokemon, the WB retaliated with Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? So it was just like bam, bam, off rip. Like it was 2 anime versus several different ones. Right? And that's how dope Pokemon was. The adventures of Ash Ketchum, Pikachu, Brock, Misty versus Team Rocket and Meowth. All of those journeys was fire. Every incarnation of Pokemon that came out during those Saturday mornings, I think the Saturday morning run stopped at like Johto, but it was just so dope. So dope that this deserves to be on the list. It should be higher. Fun fact, once again, remember when I said Fox Kids had to make a block of anime? What was one of those anime that was on Fox Kids? One Piece. Whoo, Fox Kids, you know, messed up. Anyway, number 4, here we go. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, this is interesting because Ninja Turtles came out in the 80s. So I guess they're trying to say that because it was still rocking in the 90s, it counts. Ugh, I'm about to say, it's borderline facts. Because it came out in the 80s first. It came out in 1987. So it had 3 years before all these other 90s cartoons came out to blow up. But it's still one of the most popular cartoons that they keep making it over and over and over again with different animation styles. Nickelodeon have made it several different times with several different movies. So it's doing something right to stay afloat. Now, when it comes to placement, I wouldn't really put it in the top 5, but it definitely deserves a spot on this list. So I'm going to say facts. I ain't going to fight it from there. I just don't. Overall, Saturday morning cartoons, a better argument than that. For it to start before 1990 is crazy to put on this list. Come on, ScreenRant, you better than that. Number 3, X-Men, the animated series. Now, this is top 3. Ooh, I got to see what the top 2 is. Okay, so X-Men, the animated series is also automatic facts. Because like Pokemon, it was another show that got so dope on Saturday mornings that they had to push it to weekday afternoons for kids to come home and watch and for them to get more ratings. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all, Gen Z. In the 90s, cartoons was holding it down. Kids was holding it down. And these companies, these channels was fighting in every tooth and nail. Companies was fighting tooth and nail to make sure that kids was helping them get these ratings. And X-Men was no farther from the exception. Okay. As you can see, it got a sequel series on Disney Plus, which is also just as good. But this was just something different as a cartoon show. It was dark. It was a different style of animation. It was real. And this came out in 92. Shoot, 92 for animation like that. It was looking really good. It made you fall in love with at least Wolverine. But all the characters was cool. Gambit and his Cajun talk. Rogue and her Southern talk. Just everything was so dope. It got so dope that when you played some of the Marvel video games in the 90s, like Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men Children of the Atom, some of the voices were used from the cartoon show. They used some of the same actors. That's how dope this cartoon was. Oh, when Apocalypse came, oh my gosh. I ran in a house to go see the Apocalypse fight. It was so good. It was such a good, even though I don't remember everything about that cartoon show, is one of the greatest. So this is automatic facts. Man, when you really think about this Saturday morning cartoon war, they was going through it. They was going through it. All right, top two. Here we go. Top two. Number 2, Spider-Man, the animated series. Now, this is interesting because I always thought this was more of a weekday afternoon cartoon, but yeah, this is Marvel getting into the Saturday morning cartoon game. This is the best way to describe it. They had a lot of different shows, but this is one of their best shows. This is Marvel getting into the Saturday morning cartoon game. And when they swung for the fences, ladies and gentlemen, they did not miss. Home run every time. If you look at this right here, X-Men and Spider-Man, the animated series, were both amazing shows. And again, these were dark shows. These were dark. They wasn't your typical goofy kid shows where like somebody runs into a wall and they're like, oh, like it wasn't nothing like that. It was real like life or death situations of heroes trying to stop villains from taking over the world, the universe, all that stuff. X-Men was cool, but what made Spider-Man cool was that he had mad crossovers too. He had like, I think Captain America was in some episodes. X-Men were in some episodes, so they did a little crossover with that same TV show of characters. Like, he was doing it. Also, dope theme song for X-Men and Spider-Man. So, definitely facts. This is definitely... They made sure that you could have something for everyone. Before Pokemon came in and was like, all right, enough of that superhero stuff, these were the go-to shows. So, if number 3 and number 2 is Marvel comic shows, I think I know what number 1 is. I'm willing to take a guess as my guess, right? The number 1 Saturday morning cartoon show, no surprise there, is Batman, the animated series. So facts across the board. And there's a fun fact I'm going to let y'all know once I finish saying what I got to say. So Batman, the animated series, was a really dope show. It just made so much sense at the time, and it was another dark show. It opened the door for superhero shows in a sense. This came out in what, like early? This came out in 92. So there was, when the superhero boom started, this was one of the ones that, this is not just one of the greatest Saturday morning cartoons, this is one of the greatest cartoon shows ever made. It was so serious. It set the tone for what Batman should be and what his life is about and what he's going to go through. Gotham, majority of the time on that TV show, was always dark because he came out in the dark. And they dealt with a lot of real crazy situations. And then he made a movie that was just as fire called Mask of the Phantasm. It really, these were some of the cartoons that set the Saturday morning game off. And the craziest thing is the top 3, this is the fun fact, top 3 shows, X-Men the animated series, Spider-Man the animated series, Batman the animated series, all were on Fox. All started on Fox Kids. So Fox knew what they was doing. Somebody was in that meeting like, yo fam, I know we getting killed out here by Ninja Turtles and Alvin and Chipmunks and all that. Disney about to pull up. I heard WB about to import cartoons from Japan. We don't need all that. We got these comic book shows right here. They about to blow up. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they did. They was mad smart with it. Eventually, Batman left Fox and pulled a LeBron James and took his talents to the WB, making them the dominant force in Saturday morning entertainment. But when it ran on Fox, they was not being stopped because you had those three shows that I just said. You had Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You had what else? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There was some other shows too, but they had heat. That's what made it fire. They had heat, but they was just going over those 4 shows. And then when Pokemon came out, they pulled up with Digimon, which was as good, but not as good. You know what I mean? They had to get different anime, but Digimon was fighting. It was fighting a good fight. But man, I'll give this list a good thumbs up. It was valid. This list was valid. Although I am arguing that maybe top 4 should have been those 3 superhero shows and Pokemon, I'm still cool with the list. Jury's still out on Hey Arnold as a Saturday morning cartoon show. It's still a great cartoon show, but I don't know about Saturday morning cartoons. But every kid had a different television station, so maybe they played it on there. I don't know. Is there any cartoon shows I'm missing before we finish it up? Is there any ones that I know in my heart should have probably been on here? Yu-Gi-Oh! Should have definitely been on here. It came out, if I'm right, unless it came out in the 2000s, maybe that's why. But if they were counting overall, Yu-Gi-Oh! Should definitely be in this argument. Men in Black would be right under. It was pretty cool. Jackie Chan Adventures, unless they're counting that as 2000s as well. Alvin and the Chipmunks was also a fire one. Sonic the Hedgehog, the Jaleel White version, because that one was Dolph and that one was fire too. That'd be right under. I know I'm missing some. Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Static Shock. But I feel like all of those probably came out in the 2000s outside of Superman. So maybe that's why these aren't hitting it. I'm surprised Animaniacs didn't make it, but I guess they felt Pinky and the Brain was better. I'm going to tell y'all right now. One of the most underrated cartoons on Saturday mornings. Underrated. Freakazoid. Freakazoid was a PG version of Deadpool. PG. He broke the fourth wall. He was completely insane. He could barely get hurt. The show was wacky. It was basically taking Gintama and Deadpool, putting it in a pot, and watering it down enough for, the FCC to not get up on them about it. But it was really I just wish it had more time to be the show it was supposed to be. It sucked that they didn't let it rock anymore. But that's okay. I got to see what I got to see. It was one of the greatest theme songs. I want to find one where it talks about theme songs, because I got some reservations for Saturday morning cartoon theme songs. Beetlejuice, Freakazoid, just saying. Anyway, but yeah, that's my list, man. That's my list. I know there's more. I'm trying to think. I know there's more, but those would probably be more in my opinion. Like, for example, I would say Waynehead, Seabear and Jamal, Fillmore, but I'm saying all the black cartoon shows. So that's why I'm like, let me not even go there. So again, thanks for watching. Follow us on all social media at Nerds in the Hood, NERDZINTHEHOOD. You can check the link tree in the description below. Click on it so you can follow us very, very easily. We're going to come back with more lists, man. This is the first of many in the new era of Nerds in the Hood. And I liked it. Like I said, this was my birthday present. I wanted to do this list. I wanted to have fun with this list. I'm going to have this come out on Saturday morning. So if you're watching this, it's because it's a Saturday morning. And yeah, you're going to get your bowl of cereal. You're going to sit right in front of the TV and you're going to watch me on YouTube, go through this list. And then you're going to YouTube these cartoons so you can see what they was all about. You feel me? Anyway, I'm going to catch y'all next time. Peace.